All right, so welcome back. Chapter on process costing is almost complete. But before we end the pain, let's have a little bit more pain. As we are going to do, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things in this question. So a lot of work ahead of us here, but we can get to it. I will do my best to keep the page situated where we can see the relevant facts at any one point in time. So here we are. This whole video is going to be over one question. It says the inventory at June 1 and cost charged to work in process for Department 60 during the month of June are as follows. Okay, so right up here we've got 3,800 units that are 60% completed. And we have a total cost in this beginning work in process inventory of $60,400. With direct materials, looks like for the period added for 32,000 units, totaling a value of $378,000. Direct labor added during the period is $274,000, and factory overhead applied in the month of June is $168,000 for a grand total of $880,400 total cost to be accounted for. All right, so let's see. We've got some additional information here. Let's see here. During June, 32,000 units were placed into production. That's good because that's how many material units we have. And 31,200 were completed, including those in inventory on June 1st. Now, I will say this, even if they did not give this information here, even if this little, including those in inventory, including those in inventory on June the 1st, even if we didn't have that information, that would still be a true story, okay? So the 31,000, whatever we complete, it is assumed that, if we had any kind of beginning work in process, that those are the first items that are completed. All right. Okay. So it also says here on June the 30th, the inventory of work in process consisted of 4,600 units, which were 85% completed. Inventories are costed by the first in, first out method, and all materials are added at the beginning of the process. So, what that tells us is this. I want to tell you two things before we get going. These 3,800 units here up at the top, those are 100% complete as to materials and 60% complete as to conversion costs. Conversion costs being direct labor and factory overhead. Additionally, these 4,600 units here are 100% complete as to materials, but only 85% complete as to conversion costs. Doesn't exactly tell us that, but they did tell us that a little bit later when they told us directly, basically, because all materials are added at the beginning of the process. Determine the following. We're here in the bold. Round unit cost data to 4 decimal places, because if we don't, we're going to come up with answers. The rounding is going to come back to bite us. To minimize rounding differences. Okay. So the first thing that they want us to do here in A is probably the easiest. And they want us to determine equivalent units of production for conversion costs. Okay, and this is for the period. So the first thing that we have to do is look up here at these 3,800 units that were 60% completed. And I can already tell we're going to need a calculator. So let's get one. Make it a little smaller, please, and bring it over. Okay, very good. So we're going to need information about these 3,800 units here, and they were 60% completed before, right? So that means that during the month of June, we're going to complete the other 40%. So 3,800 times 40%, the amount that needs to still be completed in the month, is going to give us 1,500 units. Okay, so let's see, how do I want to do this? You know what I think I'm going to do to save a little bit of space is I'm going to say 1520. No, I'm not doing that. I changed my mind already. A is going to be 3,800 times 0.40, and that's going to give us 1,520 units from beginning inventory as to conversion that were completed in the period. All right. Let's see, what else do we have to figure? Let's see here. So it says that we had 31,200 units that were completed. However, including those in inventory on June the 1st. So that was 3,800 units total. They were 60% completed. Now they're 100% completed. We added the 1,520. So we got to subtract the whole 3,800. That's going to give us 27,400. And what this 27,400 is, it's actually the amount, the number of units that were started and completed all within the month of June. Okay, so I want to take the second part of this is going to be 31,200 minus 3,800, and that's going to give us 27,400. Okay. All right. We have one more thing we have to do, because this is asking us for equivalent units of production for conversion. We have to take this 4,600 units here and say, okay, well, you know what though? They're 85% complete, and that's another 3,910. So we're going to take 4,600 times 0.85, and that's 3,910. And we're going to add up. We've already got the 3,910, so I'm going to go 3,910 plus 1,520 from beginning inventory, plus the 27,400 units that were started and completed in the period. And this is going to give us our answer of 32,830 equivalent units as to conversion costs. So we have completed requirement A. And B, they want to know the conversion cost per equivalent unit. Okay, so this is not too bad either. So what I want to do here is let's just put a B right here. And we want to notice that our conversion costs are made up of these two figures right here. Direct labor and factory overhead. So 274,000 plus, whoops, I made a mistake. 274,000 plus 168,000 of applied overhead equals $442,000 in conversion costs. And we're actually going to just divide that by our number of equivalent units. Okay, and so if we do that, what was it? It was 32,000. It's right here in front of me. 830. That's going to give us a per unit conversion cost figure of, divided by 32,830, $13, and then 4633. Remember, they want us to round to 4 decimal places here, so you can see it a little bit better. 13.463, and then the 2 would go to 3 as well. So 13.4633. And this is our answer. for part B. What do they want on part C? Okay, so they want the total and unit cost of finished goods started in a prior period and completed in the current period. Okay. So, very good. That's fine. We can do that fairly pain-free. All right. So, completed in the current period. Well, this is that 1,520 here, because they're talking about started in a prior period and completed in the current period. So that's this 1,520 right here. So all we have to do actually is take that 1,520 and multiply it by that $13.4633. And if we do that, let's get the calculator over here. 1,520 times the 13.4633 that we already calculated, and that's going to give us $20,464. However, they're asking for the total cost, so we have to come back up here and grab this 60,400 and add it to that. So minus 0.216. I just did that to get to an even number. So 20,464 plus the 60,400 is going to give us 80,864, and this is going to be one of our answers actually, because they want the total cost. That's 80,864. However, they also want the unit cost for finished goods started in a prior period and completed in the current period. So also in C, we're going to need to take our 80,864 and divide by all 3,800 units that had been started in the prior period. Okay? And if we do that, we're going to come up with a cost of $21.28. Okay, of finished goods started in a prior period and completed in the current period. Okay, so we're accounting for everything here. This is a combined figure for both conversion costs as well as direct material. So we have 3,800 units at a total cost of 80,864 and a per unit cost of $21.28. All right, what else do they want? They want total and unit cost of finished goods started and completed in the period. Okay. Well, the good news is, and I'll have to probably kind of go back and forth here a little bit so that we can see what we want. I'll try to pay attention as best I can. So D, started and completed. We've actually figured that out. We completed 31,200 units in the period, but 3,800 of those were started in the prior period. So started and completed is 27,400. So we've got that already. I'm going to put started and completed because we just realized we're going to have to do something else. Something that they didn't ask for. Completed. Started and completed. All right. So they don't ask us for it specifically, but what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to determine our direct materials cost per unit. And so what we're going to use is we're going to use this 378,000 and we're just going to divide it by the 32,000. And we can do that because materials are added at the beginning of the period. So direct materials per unit is going to be $378,000 over 32,000 units. Let's just get our calculator back over here. 37800 divided by 32,000 units equals that figure. And I'm going to drop this down here just to reiterate. I took the 378,000 here, divided it by 32,000 units. We came up with $11. $11.8125. Okay, so we're going to have that figure. So let's think about this now. We've already done a lot of work here. We've calculated the direct materials cost per unit. We previously calculated the conversion cost per unit. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the materials of 11.8125 plus this 13.4633. And so what we could say is that we have 27,400 units times $25.2758 dollars. And this figure right here is the second part of the answer. They want the unit cost of finished goods started and completed. Well, this is the number that were started and completed. This is the unit cost. And then if we just multiply this by the number of units started and completed, we should have our answer. And we do. 692,557. So remember, C and D had two answers each. And now we have the second of those two answers. All right, now what do they want? Sure, they want something else. Total cost of work in process inventory as of the end of the month. Okay, so it's a little bit more complicated. So we got E here. I'm actually going to circle these. A, where's B? There it is. C, D, and E. All right. So let's see here what we got. We got an issue though, because remember, materials are added at the beginning. Where am I at here? Materials are added at the beginning of the process. So what we're going to do is we're going to say these 4,600 units here were 100% complete as to materials. So we can go ahead and multiply this by our 11.8125. Okay. And then if we remember, we already calculated the number of equivalent units for conversion cost as 3910. So just as in the last video, we have two different figures. And so we've got to multiply the 3910 times the conversion cost per unit of 13.4633. Okay, so let's just go ahead and bring this over here, because what they're asking, total cost of work in process inventory. We have 4,600 units that are 100% complete. So 4,600 times 100% is 4,600 times our calculated $11.8125. And that's going to give us $54,337. Okay, we could have rounded up or down. And then we also have 4,600 units that are 85% complete as to conversion. That's this 3910 here. And we're going to multiply it by, I'm not sure if I did that already, 0.4633. And that's going to give us 52,643. So 54,337 right here plus 52,643 equals 106,980. And that is our correct answer. Now I want to show you something. If you wanted to check your math, what you could do is you could take this 106,980 here. You could add it. You could add to it the 692,557. Okay. Why did that not work? So 692. Let's start over here. 106,980 plus 692,557 plus the part of from beginning inventory of 80,864, and that's going to give us in total $880,401. And we're off by $1 due to rounding, but that's our total cost to be accounted for. So that's a good way to check our math. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to bring the calculations up here so that you can take a screenshot of the calculations, and then you can go up and do another one for the scenario. All right, that's it for the chapter.